Hi, my name's James Scott. I'm aboard on the Bayou, and today I'm reviewing Thunderstone Quest by Mike Elliott, Brian Reese, and Mark Wotan. Publisher is AEG. Came out earlier this year, 2018. It's 2 to 4 players, 60 to 90 minutes, ages 14 and up. Complexity, they have it set at about a 2.6 out of 5. I pretty much agree with that. Time, yeah, once you get set up, probably about an hour and a half. Once you more an hour once you get some experienced players with 2 players, 4 players, a couple hours at least. But you also got to figure in probably about a 20-minute setup, depending on the types of setup you do. So let's go down to the table, and I'll show you the basics of the game. All right, this is a basic setup. Randomly generated. There's different ways of setting up the game in the quest book. They have a bunch of different ways of setting up, and they're preset, so you can do it at whichever style you want. You can progress all the way through. It's 40 odd pages and a lot of beautiful color illustrations. Also the rule book, again, top quality, beautiful color pictures, easily read instructions, pretty well written. FAQ in the back, a bunch of different modes to play the game. You can play the campaign, or you can play as just a one-off game, one of the quests, random. Everybody's going to be given a board. They're going to take a miniature, just represent where they're at as more of a place marker, and a starter deck, which includes level 0 heroes, a couple daggers, a couple thunderstones, and a couple lanterns. On this board, we'll explain the village turn and the dungeon turn. Also, you have a hit point track. As you take wounds, you slowly start covering up your hit points. At the end of your turn, you draw up to whatever your current hit points is. Because every turn, you're going to play your whole hand. The first thing you do in every turn is reveal your hand and play all cards. But you get to decide before you do that if you're going to go to town or if you're going to go to the dungeon. If you go to town, you get to choose one of 4 locations to go to. You can go to the bazaar, you can go to the guild quarter, the temple, or the shop. Every turn, you're going to be allowed to buy 1 card, level up a hero, heal 1 wound. But if you go to these locations, you can also do additional things. In the bazaar, you can buy 1 of these gear tokens. The bread increases your skill, which I'll explain in a minute, or give you 1 gold. Light, the lanterns give you 1 light. You just dispose of it, and you destroy this for 1 wound. The guild will allow you to actually level up 2 heroes, which really doesn't happen at the beginning of the game, and it'll happen towards the end. Temple, you discard a card back on top of your deck, and you can't level, and you can't go to the wilderness, but you heal up 2 wounds. Or if you really got lucky and got 10 gold, you can buy 1 of these treasure cards. The only other way to get those pretty much is to kill a monster. Or the other choice you have is to go to the wilderness. The wilderness, you start in level 0. If you want to go further down in the dungeon, you have to pay the light cost or have the light cost on your card. So if you deal, and say I had this is my hand. I have one light, so I'm able to go. I could go. This didn't require any, but this required one, and you don't have to worry about the creatures as you move through, unless they have a little exclamation point. And the same thing with the rooms. They'll have like this little symbol here, which means there's something special happens when you enter that room. You need to pay attention. There's a lot of creatures that are like that too. And so I could go and I could go to fight him. Obviously, I wouldn't because I only have 4 damage, so I wouldn't have been able to fight him. So I wouldn't have bothered. The other choice you could also would had is to fight this giant rat, and just like most deck builders, as everybody knows, there's always that one immortal creature that you can kill many times, and that's, for this game, it's the giant rat. You kill him, and it says on the spoils that you can, if you got a level 0 hero, you can go and level him up for free. You don't have to pay the XP. And he would become one of these heroes. Now you can on these heroes, you can either level them up by paying the XP cost for this plus 2 is how much it costs to level them up. And on a level 0 hero, he can become any one of these. But for some, let's say you had this fighter and you wanted to level him up, he's a level 1, so you would have to pay 3 of your XP from your board, and then you'd go through the stack and you'd find the level 2, and then you take that and put that in your discard pile. So once they become one of these heroes, they are that hero for the rest of the game in your deck, unless they get obviously destroyed. But the level 0 heroes can become whatever, so you can customize your deck as you play. So no deck is set at the very beginning. The whole object of the game is to go through and kill these monsters to find 4 of these keys that you have hidden at the beginning of the game in these 3 decks. You put 1 key in the level 1, 2 keys in the level 2, and 3 keys in the level 3. As you can find 4 keys, then the game is over, and everybody draws and gets 1 more turn. It tells you right here you can draw 6. You can discard 4. And basically you're going to take 1. Everybody's going to get 1 chance to try to kill the big boss. Then the boss's XP is dependent on how much damage you can do. As long as you can do at least their health, you take your total amount of damage and you have it round up, and that's the XP you get. Total up the XP you have in your deck, highest total wins. Simple as that. So there's not very many creatures. There's 10 creatures per deck. Once this deck is emptied, now the level 2 creatures are going to start moving up into the level 1 area. So on longer games, you'll sit there and sometimes you'll wear down a deck and you'll start getting the bigger creatures because you don't want to mess with some of these rooms. All these rooms have different effects. Some, such as this one here, gives a -1 skill. All heroes have a skill. The skill is used to equip items and weapons. Some items, such as this one, increases their skill so they can wield more powerful weapons, such as the fighter. You need something like this in order to equip this. They have 2 different types of damage. You have your magic damage and you have your melee damage. All creatures have like a hit points, but they also, some have, like this one here has a 2 magic shield. So the first 2 magic damage goes to the shield. So if you had 7 melee damage, you could kill him, or if you had 9 magic, or a combination. But the first 2 of the magic goes away, so you could have 6 melee and 3 magic, and that would be enough to kill him. So it works like that. Once you kill the creature, you get the reward listed at the bottom, the amount of XP, a treasure card in this case. You get some light here, bread. I also take wounds. Now this is, you take those wounds whether or not you kill the creature. Most of the time when you come in here, you know you're going to be, you won't go into this room unless you know you're going to defeat it. But there's a lot of creatures in here that has effects that will change that. You'll come into this room and such as, I think this one here, yes. You roll 2d6. Every 5 or 6, you discard 1 weapon. So you may come in here strong enough, but you roll his ability, you can no longer kill him, but you're still going to take that wound. Some rooms actually have that effect too, like this one here. You'll take additional wounds. So there's a lot of variety where it comes down to. These are all the different room boards you randomly generate. And that's pretty much all the basics of the game. We'll go back up top and I'll give you my final thoughts on the game. All right. So that's the basics on the play of the game. My thoughts on the game? Fantastic. I love it. Definitely a 9. Easily. Probably would be a little bit higher if it was more accessible. That's my only complaint about the game. It's a hard game to find. It was Kickstarter only. And then they just recently did another Kickstarter that just ended. Other than that, that's pretty much the only way to get a copy of the game currently. The only retailers out there are selling a Kickstarter version of this game, and so they jacked up the prices on it. So it's makes it a lot more expensive than it really should be. But other than that, definitely worth playing if you can get your hands on it. Lots of replayability, probably about one of the most replayable games out there because of the random generators of the monsters. You randomly generate pretty much everything in the game that if you want. Or like in the adventure book, you can pick the adventures, go through. They got a campaign mode. You have the epic mode where you play with one of every card. There's just so many different ways to play the game. Put more keys in if you want a longer, harder game. Less keys in if you want a quicker game. We even talked about possibly making the some of the dungeons a little bit harder. You know, putting in no level 1s, just putting in some level 2s, and or making some of the dungeon rooms, mixing them up and just picking whatever levels they are. Really a lot to the game. This, like I said, this is the Champion Edition. As you can see, there's a lot of cards. This is the cards you use to set up the game and the starter cards. These are all the different types of monsters. These are all the different heroes and spells and items and weapons. It's a lot. And with you randomly generating, thousands of games, and you never play the same game twice. So that really adds to it. When we play, we like to look at the cards a little bit. We'll look at it and put out like a mall, which gets a bonus. If you have a dwarf out, we don't have a dwarf. We'll take it and we'll randomly pick something else. So we kind of customize a little bit more. Card quality is fantastic. I sleeved all mine, as you can see. But they, in the Kickstarter, they have the sleeves, my sleeves. I just picked mine up. These ProFit sleeves. I found a cool site that sells them for about $2.50 for 100 of them. And so I had a bunch of those laying down from sleeving other games. So I've sleeved all mine. I found those could ask for a better fit. Miniatures, really nice. Being that it's only Kickstarter, it used to be which version you're going to get. Well, it's a Kickstarter only currently, so there's only one, and everything you get is top notch. Quality really shows through with AEG, like all their games. So if you get a chance, like I said, you play it, you'll love it. I pretty much guarantee it. And this is James Scott with Board on the Bayou. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. Thank you.